The internet computer is going to be the topic of today's video, and as you can see, we are outside once again whilst it is still legal to do so. And in this video I hope to kind of explore why it is the internet computer, ICP, is going to be and is such a big deal. And I may not do it justice, but I'm going to try all the same. So we should perhaps start off by kind of outlining what the internet computer is and what it's trying to facilitate, and why it's trying to facilitate this. And I think a good place to start this topic off would be to sort of address how things are currently built on the internet and the problems that come with that, and then we'll interject and put ICP in there and show you guys how it's looking to revolutionize this in much the same way that Bitcoin is looking to revolutionize and to give sovereignty back to the individuals in regards to money. So let's talk about the internet as it currently sits. Now, the internet is really just a kind of mishmash and collection of protocols. The internet has been around for just over 40 years now, and of course has revolutionized all our lives. It has freed up information, it has allowed for this level of connectivity, and the evolution of that is going to be the Internet of Things, which is a topic that we haven't spoken about yet, but one that we certainly do want to speak about at some point. But if you want to build on the internet, and we've spoken about how we believe DePIN, which stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure, is going to be one of the biggest opportunities to present itself in 2024, 2025 and onwards. ICP really kind of embodies that as a whole, I guess. So let's go back and let's talk, or let's start on how you build something on the internet. If you want to build something on the internet, you essentially are going to utilize a collection of things. And one of those things, whether you want to build a website, whether you want to do whatever it is, a streaming platform, of course you need a website to do that. One of the first things you're going to need if you want to build on the internet is some sort of cloud computing. And the entire cloud computing market is essentially owned by a handful of individuals, in much the same way that money is entirely in the control of the government. And these entities that offer cloud computing all happen to reside in the United States. And that's why, or one reason why the United States is the superpower that it is, because it has all these big tech companies. And actually, if you look into the origins of many of these tech companies, you'll see CIA involvement and all kinds of things. And often this kind of story that you've been told of these companies being basement companies, you know, somebody's been working on them in their basement, are actually far-fetched and far from the truth. And we're not going to go into any specifics, but if you want to build on the internet right now, there's really only a handful of companies that you're going to be able to do that on, and you're going to utilize their cloud services. So we know about Google's cloud, we know about Amazon's cloud, and then of course you're going to need something like data storage. Amazon is by far the leader in that. It's one reason why Amazon is one of the largest companies in the world. But if you want to build on the internet, you're essentially going to use a handful of companies that have a complete monopoly over the cloud. You know, they've been referred to as the cloud lords, the techno feudalists, all of these kind of analogies. And this makes for a very centralized internet. Even though the internet, anybody can use it, the infrastructure that actually facilitates the internet is essentially owned, like I said, by a handful of companies, Google, Amazon, and so on and so forth. And the internet computer is really looking to disrupt this by leveraging distributed ledger technology in the same way that Bitcoin has looked to disrupt money and value by using a distributed ledger. And we think Bitcoin maxis are some of the dumbest people in the room. We think they've got the concept of Bitcoin very right, but perhaps the concept of a distributed ledger very wrong. It was Hal Finney, who many of these maximalists think was Satoshi or is Satoshi. I mean, he's dead now, so was would probably be the right word, that actually said that Bitcoin is a global ledger, and there are many applications for a global ledger. And I think the internet computer is essentially trying to apply a distributed ledger to the same things that run the internet. And this is huge. This is absolutely huge, because if this becomes a reality and the internet computer ICP succeeds in this, they may be the evolution of the internet. In the same way that Bitcoin is evolving money and how we view and interact and think about money, ICP may be looking to do that with the internet. So we've spoken about how if you want to build on the internet, you're ultimately going to have to utilize the monopoly systems that facilitate that, the cloud lords. You're going to have some sort of cloud service. You're going to also have to have some sort of probably data storage, and a number of other things. They're all enterprise systems. They're all essentially owned by the same companies, and there's a massive degree of power that they have and centralization that is given to them as a result of this. So ICP is essentially coming up and have came up with, through the Internet Computer Protocol, a way of decentralizing this stack and essentially building a Web3 true to the decentralized ethos internet. And they do this by using something called canisters. Now, canisters can be thought of as smart contracts. If you think about what makes these smart contract protocols secure, it's because they ultimately put the smart contracts, or the finalization of the smart contract, through the blockchain. So it's recorded. You know, it's why Bitcoin's so secure, because all the transactions are saved on the blockchain. You can record them, you can track them, you can trace them. The same thing is applicable with smart contracts. Well, what ICP is looking to do in a decentralized manner is essentially have a network of global database systems that will essentially utilize these canisters, so that you can essentially, in the same way you can go to Amazon or you can go and build on the internet today, you can do that using the Internet Computer Protocol in a totally decentralized and trusted manner. And what this does is it decentralizes the power away from the techno-feudalistic lords that reign over us, and their power as we move towards a more and more technological world is only going to increase, certainly with the emergence of AI systems and things like this. And this is another area that we're very interested in, is decentralized AI. I think it's something like 10 million iPhones can essentially run a very complex machine learning program. If you had 1 billion iPhones, you could essentially have the most powerful AI system that there is in a decentralized manner. So this is something we're very interested in. But to focus on the topic at hand, which is ICP and how they're looking to change and revolutionize the internet, they're doing this via leveraging blockchain technology. And isn't this just absolutely true to the entire ethos that this space was born out of, in regards to decentralization, in regards to taking power back from the few and giving it to the many via utilizing a DLT. So this is exceptionally interesting. This is a narrative that I think a lot of people don't quite care about, because they don't quite understand it. They don't quite understand just how the likes of Google, Amazon, and these other big tech companies have such an effect over your lives. You know, as human beings, we're a constant cycle of output and input. It's how we learn. And we now live in a world where most people have technology in front of them like this. And that technology, whether you like it or not, and a lot of the times it's designed to do so, is manipulating you. And the people that are behind that technology are very few in number. It's a handful of people that essentially have a monopoly over the technical world that we live in. You know, the software and hardware that facilitates the internet. The Internet Computer is looking to decentralize that via their Internet Computer Protocol. They utilize these things called canisters, which are unbelievably scalable because you can run them in parallel. You know, we see a real move away from sort of one chain to do everything to this kind of parallel system. If you look at Ethereum with their layer 2s, if you look at most blockchains, they're going down this kind of multi-chain parallel path. It essentially will enable people to build in much the same manner you build on the internet a website, a smart contract protocol, a DApp, whatever it may be, DeFi protocols, but you can actually do that on their system, the Internet Computer, and hence the whole name ICP, the Internet Computer. It's meant to be a computer that can essentially facilitate the entire internet. Now, isn't that interesting? Isn't that the entire vision of the next generation of the web, Web 3? To me, it's very interesting. I'm perhaps late to the game in regards to ICP. I know many people have been talking about it perhaps for years. We've only really been deeply researching it for 6 or 7 months properly. And the good news, if you're still not into ICP, is it's still at that stage where it's just waking up. You know, we've seen that first run from $3 all the way to perhaps 12. I think that is just the first leg of what is going to be a very long journey to the upside, because ultimately ICP, the internet computer, is doing something truly amazing and needed. There's a necessity for us to at least compete and try and compete with the techno-feudal lords. Otherwise, we end up in this dystopian world where a few basically have ultimate control over the many, and they're going to do that via leveraging technology. So really, this video was perhaps just an introduction into ICP. We are going to be covering it far more on the channel. We're going to be doing more videos like this where we're out for a walk and we're talking about projects, interesting areas within the cryptocurrency space, issues that needed to be highlighted. But ICP is, in my opinion, one of the most promising projects to come out of the cryptocurrency market. And I feel like I'm late to the party. However, you know, I really don't think in regards to where this could go that you're late in regards to its journey. I think we're still very much at the start of it. You know, I did hear rumors when ICP went to its all-time highs, when it kind of launched. I did hear rumors that a lot of the developers left because of course they were paid in ICP for their work. And that kind of put me off a little bit. You know, they all became rich. Why would they want to work anymore? Rich enough to live the rest of their lives very comfortably. However, since then, they've been making unbelievable progress. The concept is new and genius. And ultimately, the vision that they have, if they can achieve that, they may quite literally be what we build on tomorrow when we look to facilitate things on the internet. And actually, it's not just about moving away and disrupting centralized power points and monopolies. There's also a number of benefits that you get from utilizing a distributed ledger, a distributed internet. Not only do we get to distribute power more evenly, we get to essentially govern over it via the token. We also have cost benefits. We also have censorship benefits. You know, it's very hard to censor a decentralized protocol. And there's a large basket of other benefits out there. You know, security is a massive one. There's a lot of benefits on top of decentralizing monopolies, just like what Bitcoin tries to do with money and reinstating the individual sovereignty, that go on top and are extra in regards to the internet computer. So I guess this was just a bit of an introduction into what I think could be one of the big narratives in regards to the crypto space in 2024, which could be ICP. And ultimately, if you haven't watched my video on DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure, please do go and give that a watch. You know, I think that's going to offer one of the largest opportunities that there is in the crypto space. We have a number of decentralized physical infrastructure DePIN projects that we're watching that are very small. That whole narrative hasn't even been explored. We're seeing more and more people talk about it. But in regards to the kind of DeFi summer that DePIN's going to have, I think we're a while off, and I think it's going to be an absolutely spectacular one. And actually, ICP kind of embodies that entire ethos of DePIN. Guys, that's all I've got for you in this video. If you have enjoyed this content, a like is always greatly appreciated. So is a comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.